Today, let's walk through a useful deadlift variation that can be a valuable addition to your program, the pause deadlift. So as I mentioned before, the pause deadlift can be a great variation to put into your program, and we'll go into the whys a little bit later on, but first let's focus on the hows. Let's learn how to do this thing right now. The great thing about the pause deadlift is that the setup is exactly the same as our regular conventional deadlift. We'll use the same 5 steps. We'll have Fran again approach the barbell. 1 inch away from the bar is step 1. Step 2, he's gonna keep his knees straight, take his grip on the bar. Good. Step 3, bend his knees so the shins make contact. Don't drop his hips. Step 4, squeeze his back up. And step 5, he would just stand up with the barbell. Go ahead and stand up full. Good. Awesome. So nothing will change from this. Go ahead and put it back down. Now, the pause deadlift, depending on why we're using it and the reason we're going to program it, is going to be somewhere between 2 inches off the ground and below the knee. Somewhere in this range. Depending on the whys. So all that matters when we do this thing is that we're going to make sure we come to a complete stop for a prescribed period of time, usually between 1 and 2 seconds, and make sure that bar comes dead stop before we finish the pull. This teaches us a lot of things, can troubleshoot some problems, which we'll get into later, but right now, let's have a look at what it looks like. So we'll have Fran approach the bar, same as before, 1 inch away. Step 2 is going to take his grip. Step 3, set his shins. Step 4, set his back, and I want Fran to pause at his mid shin for 2 seconds. Pull, 1, 2, and then finish the pull. Good, set it back down. Reset his back, eyes up a little bit, drag it, hold, go, and through. Good, awesome. The great thing about this variant is that we can program it for different reasons. This can actually be a heavy day pull, a heavy single with some back offs, because the weights you use can be relatively heavy compared to your 1 rep max or deadlift, or for some lighter pulling or a medium pulling day with some more volume. The time under tension is quite a bit longer, so you usually stay with sets of 3 on the pause deadlifts because the rep of course takes that much longer. So there's a lot of variability in how we want to program and use these things for different athletes. Aside from just some more work, there's some troubleshooting that we can do using this exercise, and there's really 4 reasons why I'd want to use it. Number 1, for lifters who tend to relax their back as the pull gets off the floor. Remember, the deadlift needs to be done with the back held in rigid extension. And the further up the leg they go, people tend to start relaxing their back when it gets heavy. The pause deadlift will punish this if you try to do this. So this forces you to really keep your back in tight, rigid extension throughout, and you'll feel it when you're doing it right and when you're doing it wrong. That's the first reason. Second reason, for lifters who tend to let the bar drift away from their legs throughout the pull, this will obviously make it way more difficult to do. A heavy pause deadlift can't be done when the bar's off of your leg, which means it's in essence off of midfoot. You're introducing an extra moment arm between the midfoot and the barbell, and it makes it way more challenging. So this of course will teach us to really pin that bar on the shins because you have to hold it there for 2 seconds before finishing the pull. This works great for that particular problem. The third reason why we like to use this is for lifters who tend to lift their chest prematurely off the floor and try to get this bar moving by pulling with their back. We see this all the time. Remember, the deadlift is a pull off the floor, agreed, but it actually starts with knee extension, so a push through the floor and gets the bar moving. What people tend to do when they deadlift sometimes, walk forward, Fran, go ahead and show us this. I'm gonna have Fran set up as he normally would. He'll take his stance, grip, shin, chest up, and he's gonna hold it right there. Most people, when they have problems with this, will try to lift their chest prematurely. Go ahead and lift your chest as you're pulling with your back. There. Now hold it. His back is way more vertical than it needs to be, and his quads haven't really done any of the work. Go ahead and put it back down. When this occurs, it makes the deadlift much more difficult, and you really can't pause it properly in that position when you have this problem. So what I'd like Fran to do instead is go ahead and set up the bar as he is, and because now we're gonna have a pause, it'll teach him to use his legs, chest up hard, set his back, eyes in front, push with the floor, push, and hold, come on up. Good. That'll usually nip that problem in the bud before it gets bad for people who tend to pull their chest early in the deadlift. The last problem that we like to address with this is people who have a tendency to bail out when it gets hard. Everybody who's gotten sufficiently strong knows that the deadlift of the big 4 exercises is the most punishing when it gets heavy. You really have to learn how to grind on heavy weights, and we've all been in a situation where we bailed out prematurely on a weight that we probably could have finished. The pause deadlift will teach us to stay in the grind of a lift longer than we would like because of the nature of the exercise. So some people, when they get going, they pull up for it, they'll break off the floor quickly. When it gets stuck, when it gets in the middle, it gets hard, they'll pull for a second and they'll go ahead and drop it down. This can be a great tool to teach people to stay with grinding through a heavy weight and don't stop pulling until the bar actually is overtaken by gravity and goes back down to the floor. Until that happens, you keep pulling. This is a great way to address that problem as well. We hope this helps. If you'd like to learn how the barbell can transform your body, literally change your life, there's no better place to be than right here with us at Brussels Barbell. Strength matters. Find yours with us.